hard on herself. She was very consumed with work, very consumed with her career.
She was born Mary Frances Reynolds on April 1st, 1932, in El Paso, Texas. Her father worked for the railroads that crossed the Franklin Mountains in West Texas. Even everyday life was a struggle. Escape, opportunity, a chance. When Mary Frances was almost 6, the family moved to California. There they settled in Burbank and grew into the Southern California life. Franny, as her friends called her, wasn't only a straight-A student. She could hold her own with anybody outside the classroom. And even at a young age, she was never just another face in the crowd. Because she wasn't allowed to play on the boys' sports teams, she decided to join the more traditional girls' activities.
Debbie entered the Burbank on Parade contest because they were giving away free blouses and scarves. And when Debbie won, it was truly exciting because we never thought that she would, first of all, win a beauty contest and then get up in front of everybody and do this kind of a lip sync to an old Betty Hutton record. But, you know, she's been a character from the day one, so it just sort of evolved.
Some of the judges were actually movie studio talent scouts.
It was really very exciting. I mean, we never knew anybody that had won a contest like that before, so we were all thrilled. And from then on, her life changed.
With her borrowed high heels, and despite the hole worn through the bottom of the only swimsuit she owned, Mary Frances Reynolds came away with a crown and these first screen tests for Warner Brothers Studios. All that has survived from the first test are these films. They show the early talent, the very picture of budding stardom, even in a crude comic short shot at her own high school.
Debbie made her cinematic debut in a modest part in 1948's June Bride, followed by a more noticeable role in the musical The Daughter of Rosie O'Grady in 1950. Signing with MGM later that year, she showcased her flair for impersonation in Three Little Words, in which she portrayed 1920s vocalist Helen Kane.
I want to be loved by you, just you, and nobody else but you.
She co-starred in the film with comedian Red Skelton and dance icon Fred Astaire, who she said was supremely kind and helpful, sharing tips about dancing. Her song, Abba Dabba Honeymoon, featured in the film 2 Weeks with Love in 1950 and sung as a duet with co-star Carlton Carpenter, was the first soundtrack recording to become a top-of-the-chart gold record, reaching number 3 on the Billboard charts. She then appeared in Skirts Ahoy in 1952, Give Me a Break in 1953, and Hit the Deck in 1955. But the actress's most famed turn was in Singing in the Rain in 1952. At 19 years old, she starred opposite Gene Kelly and Donald O'Connor, shining in numbers such as Good Morning and All I Do Is Dream of You. It would be her first time singing and dancing. In 1957, she secured a place at number 1 on the pop charts with the ballad Tammy from the popular romantic film Tammy and the Bachelor, in which she starred opposite Leslie Nielsen. The Tammy series continued in a number of sequels throughout the 60s, with the title role played by Sandra Dee and then Debbie Watson. In the early 60s, she appeared in How the West Was Won, a nearly 3-hour movie with a star-studded cast that included Gregory Peck, Henry Fonda, Carolyn Jones, and Eli Wallach. In 1964, she further won more acclaim with her title role in The Unsinkable Molly Brown, for which she received an Academy Award nomination. The hit musical followed the life of famed unconventional lady of society and Titanic survivor.
I'm gonna see what there is to see.
And along the way, she met her man.
How long you been there?
Long enough.
I want a red silk dress.
Yes.
I want to go see Denver.
Yes.
I want my own brass band.
Yes.
I love the word up. Up where the people are. Up where the joke's going on. I guess it's like, here you eat snails, at home we step on them. Well, anyway, as we say, merci beaucoup.
After starring in the short-lived television sitcom The Debbie Reynolds Show in 1969 and the campy feature What's the Matter with Helen in 1971, she didn't act in films for an extended period of time outside of voiceover work as the title character in the 1973 animated feature Charlotte's Web. Instead, she turned toward the stage, spending the next few years performing in Las Vegas nightclubs and on Broadway, where she received a Tony Award nomination in 1973 revival of Irene. In 1976, she also starred in the live musical revue simply entitled Debbie. After guest spots on TV shows like Alice, The Love Boat, and Hotel, she returned to Broadway, where she replaced Lauren Bacall in the lead role of the musical version of Woman of the Year in 1983. In 1989, she began to tour nationally with a stage production of The Unsinkable Molly Brown. She returned to feature films in 1992 with a cameo appearance in The Bodyguard, and in 1996 she headlined her first film in 25 years when she was cast in the title role of Albert Brooks' endearing comedy Mother. She later took on a recurring role on the hit sitcom Will and Grace, for which she earned an Emmy nomination. Several roles later, she portrayed Liberace's mother in the acclaimed HBO biopic Behind the Candelabra in 2013 opposite Michael Douglas and Matt Damon. In 1955, against the advice of Frank Sinatra, she wed singer Eddie Fisher at a resort in the Catskills. They were considered America's sweethearts until 1959, when in a scandal that rocked Hollywood, Fisher divorced Reynolds to marry actress Elizabeth Taylor, the widow of his best friend Mike Todd. In what some say is a case of fitting retribution, Taylor dumped Fisher 5 years later to marry her Cleopatra co-star, British actor Richard Burton. Reynolds and Fisher had 2 children, Carrie, a writer and an accomplished actress known for playing Princess Leia in the Star Wars series, and Todd, a filmmaker, before divorcing in 1959. The following year, she married shoe mogul Harry Carl, who funded his gambling habit with most of her money. Burdened with his debt, she filed for divorce in 1973. In 1985, she wed real estate developer Richard Hamlin, who reportedly was also a significant source of financial turmoil, and they divorced in 1996. She had amassed a large collection of movie memorabilia, beginning with items from the landmark Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer auction that she displayed first in a museum in her Las Vegas hotel and casino during the 90s, and later in a museum close to the Kodak Theater in Los Angeles. The museum was to relocate to be the centerpiece of the Belle Isle Village tourist attraction in the resort city of Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, but the developer went bankrupt. The museum filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2009. Todd Fisher, her son, announced that his mother was heartbroken to have to auction off the collection. It was valued at $10.79 million in the bankruptcy filing. The Los Angeles auction firm Profiles in History conducted a series of auctions. Among the more than 3,500 costumes and 20,000 photographs and thousands of movie posters, costume sketches, and props, included in the sale were Charlie Chaplin's bowler hat and Marilyn Monroe's white subway dress, whose skirt is lifted up by the breeze from the passing subway in the film The 7-Year Itch in 1955. The dress sold for $4.6 million in 2011, and the final auction was held in May of 2014. In their last years together, Carrie Fisher and Reynolds' relationship was close. Reynolds told People, "I'm not as intelligent as my daughter. She says bigger words than I do, and I don't even know what they mean. But she's so amazing to me, and it's wonderful to be around her." They joined forces in 2014 to film a documentary, Bright Lights, starring Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds, which premiered in January 2017. For her part, Carrie lauded Reynolds in an interview, saying, "I just admire my mother very much. She annoys me sometimes, but she's an extraordinary woman. There are very few women from her generation who worked like that, who just kept a career going all of her life and raised her children and had horrible relationships and lost all of her money and got it back again. I mean, she's just amazing. She's had an amazing life and someone to admire. Tragedy struck on December 23, 2016. Reynolds' daughter, actress-writer Carrie Fisher, suffered a medical emergency on a transatlantic flight from London to Los Angeles and died on December 27th at the age of 60 at the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center. The following day, on the 28th, Reynolds was taken by ambulance to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles after suffering a severe stroke, according to her son. Later that afternoon, she was pronounced dead at the hospital. She was 84 years old. Todd Fisher later said that Reynolds had been seriously affected by her daughter's death and that her grief partially contributed to the stroke, noting that his mother had stated, "I want to be with Carrie," shortly before she died. During an interview for the December 30th, 2016 airing of the ABC TV program 2020, Fisher elaborated, saying his mother had joined his sister in death because she didn't want to leave Carrie and she didn't want her to be alone. She didn't die of a broken heart, as some news reports had implied, but rather she just left to be with Carrie. A private memorial was held for Carrie at her Beverly Hills home, which is located on the property she shared with Reynolds, on January 5, 2017. A funeral for Reynolds was held the following day at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Los Angeles, where she is buried with some of Fisher's ashes. Eddie Fisher died on September 22, 2010, at the age of 82. He's buried at Cypress Lawn Memorial Park in Colma, California. He was married 5 times. Harry Carl died on August 8, 1982, at the age of 68. He's buried at Hillside Memorial Park, Culver City, California. He was married 4 times. Richard Hamlet is 84 years old and lives in Roanoke, Virginia. Todd Fisher lives in Las Vegas with his 3rd wife, actress Catherine Hickland, who he married in 2012.